Hey, what's going on, Agents for Life? Welcome to podcast 279. Hope you've had a wonderful week. If not, hey, you got next week, right? Clean slate every single week. So, a couple of things I heard this week. Well, one was in the DRT where JB said something that really kind of struck me. He said, "You're one phone call away from a booked appointment." That's all it takes. It takes one call to make one appointment. Now, not every call books an appointment, but you are one phone call away from booking an appointment. And I extended that out. I thought, you know what? That's so true because you're also one appointment away from writing an app, and you're one app away from a paid application, which means you're one paid application away from a commission. So if you break it down really simple like that, it comes down to phone calls, doesn't it? Yeah, us reaching out. And if we just get good at that, focusing on our magic number, getting people on our calendar, everything else in the chain happens on its own with laws of averages. So it's a pretty cool process. It's very simple. And if you're not getting the results that you want, that's what you focus on. Get more people on your calendar on a regular basis, and you'll be amazed at what happens. I think the biggest thing is a lot of us are under scheduling. We're not getting ourselves in front of enough people. So, activity is, I want to say, cure all. Maybe it doesn't cure all problems, but most problems, I think maybe all, but most problems in life insurance can be cured by just hard work and activity. So, love that thought. Last thing, I want to get into the training for today. And this is we're doing sales. We're back to an appointment. I'm going to go through what I call the anatomy of an appointment. So this can be applied in principle to mortgage protection, life insurance, an IUL appointment, whatever type of appointment that you're running. But there are a few things that you want to do regardless. So in principle, here is what I would consider the anatomy of an appointment. So first of all, you want to onboard and get onto video. Okay, if you're virtual. If you're a face-to-face agent, it's the door knock and getting to the kitchen table, right? Come in, welcome, shake hand, get to the kitchen table. Well, that's how we used to do it in the good old days, right? When I was walking uphill to school in the snow, both ways. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, back in the good old days of going face to face, that's what we would do. But now you don't get the kitchen table. You do get Zoom and Whereby where they can see you. So we don't have to see them. They need to see you. Get to a screen to where they can know who they're dealing with because they're going to have a lot more credibility and trust as they see you and like you on screen. So it's more for them to see you so they feel more comfortable doing business with you. So that's the first step. It's very basic. Welcome, greeting, send an email. They click on it, bring them into video. That whole process takes like 1 minute, 2 minutes at the most. Shouldn't take very long. And that's step one, okay? Is the kind of the getting going, we'll call it. Step two has two parts. Okay, you're kind of talking about what's going to happen. You're setting the stage for the meeting. You're telling them the meeting. So imagine if you're going to a big presentation and you're going to be talking for an hour about a subject. Well, you usually start off with some kind of an introduction, right? A table of contents at the beginning of the book kind of gives you an outline for the book. If you did an essay in high school, right, you have that introductory paragraph that kind of states the claim for what your essay is all about. So same thing here. We like to set the table. Okay. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how our appointment goes. This is how it's done. Okay. And in that, you'll see in the script, we talk about taking an application. We talk about how I'm going to shop around. We talk about how my job is to see where I can qualify you, and your job is to pick the budget. There's a few other things, but setting the table can clear out any kind of doubts, a lot of objections. Okay. And it really just it manages their expectation and plants the seed, by the way, which is also very important, that we're actually taking an application before we hang up the phone. So when you do get to the point where you transition to the application, the idea is already in their mind. The second part of step two is the needs analysis. Once you've set the table, everything sound good, they say yes. I also like to throw in a quick question. Do you have any questions off the top of your head, or should I just go ahead and jump in? So if they've got something that's just been burning in the back of their mind, I give them a chance to clear that out because I don't want them, losing focus because they're thinking about this question they have. So I give them a chance to clear out the cobwebs, go into the needs analysis. Needs analysis, I put these two together in step two because this is where the sale is made. Okay. Between setting the table, letting them know what's going to happen, and also setting the expectation. We're taking an application. Okay, it's setting the table and then needs analysis. Needs analysis is where we uncover where the need lies. So here's the big challenge that I give you with the needs analysis. If it's not clear from both sides, my side and the prospect side, that there is an obvious need for them to buy life insurance, we don't move forward to the next step. We stay there until we figure out either A, what the need is, maybe we just haven't uncovered it yet, or B, if there's no need, we're not going to make them buy something. We're not going to encourage them or try and pressure them in or talk them into buying something that they don't need. So it's in genuinely for the best interest of the client to make sure we've clarified what that need is. Okay. I want them telling me that they want this coverage, that they need this coverage, that if something happens and they don't have this, they're in trouble. Like we need that moment of clarity. So that's the needs analysis. And it's done with numbers. Okay. We do the income numbers, we do the household income, we do the future income. What happens if he dies? What is her income? And what happens if she dies? What's his income going to be? That's called the future income. And then we talk about, we throw in debts, anything, and how soon, if it's a mortgage protection, how long they need to, or till they pay off the house. And also their current situation. What do they have already in place? Because we're looking for a gap as well. So if they have work insurance, I dismiss it. If they have personal insurance, we're seeing how much and when it expires and what type of coverage it is and all that fun stuff. So we're getting a full assessment of all their numbers, and somewhere in there logically should surface to the top what the need is. And if you can't get that, if it's not obvious, just ask them. Just ask the client. Say, well, now I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out where you need this. Can you clarify for me? What was it that you were looking for when you filled this out? Oh, I want da 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 da. Yes, I understand. You already have coverage in place. Like I've talked to people that already have enough coverage to pay out the house. They've already got life insurance. They own it, and it's enough to pay out the house. So I'm going to ask them an obvious question. Now, you've already got enough coverage to pay out the house. What was your plan with that policy? And they'll say, well, that's income replacement, or I'll suggest that. Now, was that income replacement? Okay, so just to clarify, you're wanting a separate policy above and beyond what you have now, which replaces income. You want a separate one for the mortgage because a lot of people buy their life insurance in buckets. Now, I already know the answers to that. I'm asking them to validate so that together we can move forward, even though they have policy and they have coverage, that they're getting more because it serves a different purpose. So that needs analysis is super important. Okay, that's step two. Now we're going on to step three, where we go to the underwriting. So we go to the financial stuff. Now we're going to the medical stuff. Okay. Now the first part is to see if you qualify, or to see if you need this. The second part is to see if you'll qualify. So I'll transition to this part by just saying, awesome. I think we can both safely assume that this is something that would be really important for you to have. So let me do the best I can, see where I can get you qualified. I just need to ask you a few questions because I'm a field underwriter about your health to see if I can see which carrier is going to give us not only the best odds of approval, but then also the best price, because I'm going to shop around for you so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So that's kind of how I transition. And then we go into the underwriting assessment. let's call it, for lack of a better term. It's the health questions. So this is where at the bottom of your lead form or your appointment form, you're filling out all the conditions and the medications and everything, right? So that the very, very bottom of the sheet, you see about 6 questions that you need to ask. There's health risk, there's lifestyle risk, especially if they're younger. Don't forget to ask them about DUIs, criminal activities, speeding tickets. Those younger kids, they're a little bit more risk takers. So they usually don't have health problems, but they may have gotten out of some jail time or a revoked driver's license or something recently that can also prevent them from getting coverage. So those are important. So you complete the health assessment. You ask about not only current health, but previous health. A lot of people will dismiss if you just ask about medications, a medication or two that they took years ago. Well, we need to know. We need to go back. Imagine applying for a loan. They're going to do a credit score, and they're going to go back 7 years on your credit history to determine what your credit scores are. And same thing here is they're going to look probably about 7 to 10 years on your prescription. So even if you were prescribed, even if you didn't take it, that's an important distinction because some people think, well, I was prescribed, but I never took it. Well, in some carriers' eyes, that's even worse because a doctor's telling you need something and you're going against the doctor's orders and saying, I don't need it. So don't think that that's a good thing necessarily if someone's not taking it. We need to know, write it down, put it on there. If there's a major health condition, you want to put the date on there and the severity. So it's a heart attack. When was it? 2019? Okay, was it mild, moderate, or severe? Was it moderate heart attack? Perfect. And don't react, by the way. Someone tells you they are going through cancer. You can, of course, tell them, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope everything's okay. But don't react in terms of eligibility. Like, oh, man, you have cancer? Whew, okay. Boy, this is going to be a tough one, right? You have bedside manner. Just like when you're at the doctor, they keep that professionalism as you tell them about stuff going on. You don't want the doctor freaking out like, what? Oh my gosh, no kidding? That's awful or whatever. Same thing. So if they tell me, 27 medications, I'm just going, okay, perfect. What's the next one? Got it. Okay. And then after that, are there any others? Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing all that with me. So I'm just very straightforward, very calm. I'm just inputting. Okay, we're not reacting. We've got to have the full assessment of their health, all the medications. I want to know if there's some medications that are prescribed for some health conditions, if it was a specialist that prescribed it, or if it was their primary care doctor. Mental health, especially if they're going to, a psychiatrist that's prescribed that. It's different from the eyes of the carrier than their primary care prescribed it because it's less risky if it came from a primary care versus them referring your case to somebody that specializes. Heart conditions, blood issues. Did you go to a specialist? On and on. So it's go in and do the full health assessment. Okay. At this point, you want to say, especially if you're new. Okay. Now, I'm gonna do some underwriting, so I need a few minutes. I'm gonna be shopping around for you. Okay, you've got to build value in what you're doing. And I'm also going to bring in my senior underwriter just so there's a second set of eyes on your case to make sure we're getting the best coverage and options for you. That's your way of saying, I'm brand new, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm bringing in my manager to help me out. But don't say it with those words. Use the other words that I just gave you and bring in a second set of eyes to give their case the best chance of getting approved for the best rates. So I'm bringing in the big dogs behind the scenes. Okay. Now you've just told them you're going to start shopping around. So now you're clicking around, right? And there's some empty space. And that's a great time to chat. So where'd you guys meet? While you're looking at the underwriting guides, using the insurance toolkit, whatever tools we're using for underwriting, you're kind of you're texting your manager back and forth. Okay. Oh, how many kids did you have? Where'd you go to school? Oh, that's a great place. Yeah, my cousin went there and blah, 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 right? So you're just chatting. This is a great time to bring out the chatty part. Don't do that at the beginning of the appointment. They say build rapport. Rapport isn't some checklist item. It's just done throughout the presentation. But this is a great time to actually engage in some friendly chatter. So you take a picture of the form, you message your manager, you're going back and forth, your manager's helping you with underwriting. Okay. Very important. If for whatever reason you can't get a hold of your manager, you're going to use the underwriting tools and you're going to go through and just pull up term and look, see the ailment. You're going to pull up final expense if that's what they're looking for. Look for the ailment, see which carriers are likely to approve. Okay. You can figure it out on your own, but you got to have some answers. And the other thing this is a great tip for, especially for new people. I use this all the time. Google. Okay. www.google.com. It's on the interwebs. It's a new startup. I don't know if it's going to last, but as long as it's here, it's super helpful. So Google all the names of the medications as they give them to you. Not only it'll help you with spelling, but it will tell you why they're taking something. And it makes you look like an expert too. So behind the scenes, I've got a new tab open on my window and they say, yeah, I'm taking omeprazole. I'm like, omeprazole. Okay, omeprazole pops up. Oh, it's for GERD, acid reflux. And so I'll ask them because Google will tell me that's typically used for acid reflux. So I'll ask them, is that for acid reflux? And they say yes. Perfect. You look like you know what you're doing, but also now you have clarity on why they're taking that medication. Because every medication has to have next to it why they're taking it. Okay. So from here, you get an answer. You check the underwriting guides. It's Forrester Strong Foundation. It's Americo HMS 125. It's and all these names that if you're new, you're not going to know. But get an answer from your manager on which product is going to be best to recommend this specific case. Okay. Once you have that, now's the easy part. You're going to clarify that they're going to go back to their why. And I called it setting the table part two. So you're going to go back to their why. Now, if you remember and kind of recap, this is what it's going to do. This is what you're looking for. Here's why you need this, right? Right. Yes, we can see you need it. It looks like you'll qualify. So I'm just going back through kind of in your essay. This is the conclusion, kind of the recap paragraph. Okay. And I'm going to tell them what I'm about to do. So I've got some pricing here. I'm going to show you just a couple of options. And I'm going to encourage you if you're getting sticker shock or something, if it's too much, we're just going to back it off because something is better than nothing. And if you want, we can start small, just kind of like on a basic plan, and we can always add more later. Okay. So I like to set their mind at ease. What I show you isn't all or nothing. It's not black and white. These are a couple of options, and we're going to massage this up or down as needed. So make some logical conclusions based on their budget, which is also important why you need to know their income. So someone's making $3,000 a month, do not recommend something that's $500 a month in premium. It's going to be way too much percentage of their budget going to one bill and they're going to freak out. Okay. So keep costs down proportionate with their income. So you present options. So here's the first option, this, and then tell them what they do. This pays off, like we said, half of the home or 6 months, or gives you pay, whichever strategy you're going with, or this, 500,000 or whatever for this amount, 400,000 for this amount, 300,000 for this amount. Now, some people will say, I have to have 500,000. Awesome. I will still present two, three, and four if they're starting to get expensive, and let them say, no, I really want five. So I'll always go a little lower and bring them in and let them bring me up. Okay. I bring them in a little bit lower and let them, let's go ahead and see the full 500. Okay. Since they asked, if I start high, they'll get a little bit sticker shock and it's hard to bring them back down after that because it feels like you're backpedaling. So start low and let them bring you up. And then say which one of these puts you in the best position. Boom, they pick one. I agree. I think that's a great place to start. Now, are you sure you're comfortable with that in your budget? Yes. Awesome. Okay. Now I need to get you approved. So grab your driver's license for me first, if you would, and I'll get this up and we'll see over the next few days if we can get an approval for you. So we transition to the application. That's really it. So getting to the application at the end, because you've gotten yeses along the way. Yes, I need this. Yes, this is good. Yes, the price is good. Yes, yes, yes. I like the living benefits, whatever. It's just one more yes. Okay. So it shouldn't be a big decision at that point. The big decisions happened early on when you diffused their concerns. You showed how important this is and you built value, right, on the needs analysis, on how important that need was. And now it's just a simple next step. We're transitioning to the application. Big tip, have your applications ready. Be familiar with logging in and accessing an application. If you're new, you need to be able to do that so you can smoothly go into the application on your appointment. So once you get a carrier approval, go in, log in, and use their software. You can start applications, just don't finish them. Okay, you can write one on yourself, start going through the motions, work those bugs out. So when you're on an appointment, you go right in, nice and smooth. Doc, you sign that bad boy, get it in, and hopefully get approved, get them covered, and get you paid. So I hope that's been helpful. That's just a quick overview of how an appointment goes. You can apply that in life insurance for like just an ethos lead or an appointment from ethos, or you can apply that with mortgage protection. You can apply it with final expense. You just might need to adjust some of the wording depending on the topic and what they're trying to accomplish. But that's super important to find out right up front. Why are we here? What are we trying to accomplish? What is it that you already have? What is it that you want this to do that's different from what you already have or on top of what you already have? Let's see if we qualify. Boom, here's your best options. Let's see if we can get you approved with the application. Go ahead and grab your license, et cetera, et cetera. So, hope that's helpful. Put that into practice. Maintain nice, calm, cool dignity, confidence, right? Worst case scenario, you can always call them back. I don't even like to suggest that though, because a lot of times you'll lose them after that. But if you built a good rapport, you've got a really hairy case with a lot of underwriting, you're really confused, you know what? Worst case scenario, set your mind at ease. You can say, there's some good stuff here. Let me get to work. I just want to make sure I'm 100% accurate. Can I call you back in about an hour? But don't avoid doing that at all costs. If you can get the decision right then and there, these are one call closes. So thank you for listening. I hope that's helpful to some of you, especially some of the new folks. We got a lot of new people on, so that's why I wanted to touch on this topic. Go out and get yourself in front of a whole bunch of people and practice that presentation several times. Build value. Talk about the need, establish the why, how important it is, walk them through that process, and you'll be surprised at how many people say yes at the end. All right, go put that into practice and let's go make some more sales protecting families. And I'll talk to you next week. Take care.